hope you enjoyed watching my beginner's guide to Excel, and now you're ready to take your Excel skills to the next level. Let's get started.
So we will start from where we left in the beginner's tutorial. We created this music collection. In there we did some formatting, such as we changed the font color, we changed the background colors, we changed the font to be bold or italic, we created the border for our cells. But now I want to show you some intermediate formatting options. For example, if you like the formatting of this cell that we created here with the red font, onto this we have applied more than one formatting option, which is the font color, and we made it bold. But the quickest way to apply the same formatting to other cells would not be that we select the other cells and apply the two formatting one after the other. The quickest way is to use a shortcut which is available to us in here in the home tab in the clipboard group called Format Painter. Format Painter is a shortcut that I use so often that I have created a shortcut up here so that I could use it whichever tab I go. How it works is that you click on the cell that you like its formatting, then you click on the Format Painter, then you click a range of cells or one cell and leave the mouse, and all those cells are now formatted into the one that we copied. Remember, it just copies the format and not the content, which makes it very nice. It's also useful to remove the formatting of what we got. For example, I got an empty blank cell with no formatting. What I do is I click on Format Painter and I can click on all these and leave, and they all become plain as if we haven't changed anything. At the moment, it's not very simple to understand which of our albums has the highest value or the lowest value. To make it easier to distinguish, we need to use a style that's called Conditional Formatting. Conditional Formatting is very useful in handling numbers. So to use it, all you need to do is to select a column by clicking on the column. Let's select column D, where we have different values. Once you selected that, then go and select on Conditional Formatting. Here we have a lot of different options, and each one have further more options, or you can create your own rules. What does conditional means? Condition means a set of rules that would distinguish between various different cells. One of the simplest rules that you can apply to get started is color scales. For example, we have a couple of predefined rules in here in the color scales. The first one is that the highest value would be marked as green and the lowest value would be marked as red. But you can completely reverse it by selecting the next one, which means the highest value would be red. So according to your circumstances, it could change, because sometimes the highest value could be a bad indication, but sometimes the highest value can be a good indication. For example, if the numbers that we have got represents the company's loss, then the highest value is a negative thing. Hence, I will go with red. But if these numbers represent company's profit, then the highest value would be green. Sometimes you have to apply your logic to this formatting to make it for the audience easier to follow. In here, the highest, which is the cost, I would say should be red, because you know it's most expensive. So I select that, and you can see now the highest cost is very easy to understand, which is for the album called Divide, and the lowest is two albums, which is for Let It Be and These Days. So much more you can do with the conditional formatting. For example, highlight cell rules. You can set up rules that if the number is greater than a particular number that you have defined, the color of the background changes. Or you can have top bottom rules, which means it would distinguish between the top 10% or the bottom 10% or the average data bar. It would change the color gradient according to the value, color scale, or even icons. If the value is higher, the icon goes up. If the value is lower, the icon goes down. So much more you can do with the conditional formatting. Please go ahead and explore them. If you look at this table carefully, you will still not be able to distinguish what does these numbers mean. It's a value. In my previous tutorial, I said these are actually the costs of these albums that I've got. But it's not clear in what currency are the costs. To make it more clear, what we need to do is to select the column. By clicking on the column on the top, if you come to this group in the home tab called number, it is at the moment classified as a general, but we know it's not general, it's a currency. So if you click here, you can change the formatting of those numbers that we got there to various different number formats. But we have also some shortcuts here that are more popular. Because currency is something very popular, Excel has created quick access currencies here. So we got euros, dollars, pound. All you got to do is to click on that, and it will convert it into that currency. But if you look at it carefully, you see the formatting at the moment of that currency is to accounting, even though it shows the dollar sign, but you could change it to currency. But also it has changed the dollar to pound because this Excel runs in the United Kingdom. So let's change it back to dollar because most of my viewers are from United States, but this on its own is not still as useful. So it's a plain data, but if I apply some formulas to this data, I could make this data more valuable. As I said, if I select the column at the bottom here, it gives me the average numbers of items and the sum. But to get this information, each time I have to click on the column. But I want this information to be displayed so that I could easily say what's the total sum of my music collection cost. So there are different ways to do that. Hence, we need to get to the topic of formulas. To activate a formula, all you need to do is to go on the cell where you want the result of the formula to be displayed and type equal. Equal is the key word to activate a formula. So if I want the grand total cost of my music collection, I could just add the values manually. I will call it manually, and you will see why. So if I say 7 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 and press enter, I get a value of 26. Why do we use Excel? To minimize errors, to minimize the use of manual calculation. Because accidentally I might have entered instead of 4, 3, and then the whole result would be wrong. And it's a more tedious way to do this. So Excel has got different formulas to facilitate calculations for you. So if I go again on the cell, remember from my previous tutorial, on the cell and in the cell. Now we need to go on the cell and again type in equal. That would automatically erase what we typed before. And now we need to bring a keyword, a formula. So type SUM to bring sum. You can see as I'm typing, I get a lot of more functions, and then put a parenthesis to the left. So what is the range that we are interested in here? It is D3. You don't need to put capital because Excel is clever, it would automatically understand what you mean. Colon D7. Again, Excel is clever, you don't need to close the parentheses. You can just press enter and it will give you the total sum. So another way to use this formula would be, let's delete this. Let's put equal sign and put sum again. You can always press tab to let Excel to autocorrect our formula, which I've done now. And now instead of typing manually again, we can go and select the range by clicking on D3 and dragging it all the way to D7 and then leaving the mouse key button and then pressing enter. So this is okay if you have a data that is not very long. You might have a data that 1000 rows the data could continue. If that would be the case, it would be a very hard work to click on one cell and then drag it all the way to 1000. In that way, just typing the range would be easier. Another way to type is to click on the cell and then come to this place and then do whatever you want inside it. Press escape to leave that cell intact. That's also important. Sometimes you might be scared, oh, I might have accidentally changed some value. But don't worry, if you press escape, anything you have done in that cell would not be changed. And at last, the quickest way to sum up these values would be to go right in this corner, which is called editing, in the home tab. In this group, we got a function called AutoSum. So what happens if I would delete this? Remember, click on the cell, and all you need to do is to come in this corner and click on AutoSum. It displays what it means by AutoSum, just so that you could verify what it means is same as what you want. Because occasionally, especially in the previous versions of Excel, it could have accidentally picked up some numbers that you didn't really want to include in your formula. But now it gives you a visual guide to verify the numbers you have selected is what you want. Once you're happy again, press enter. But now if you look closely at this column, you can see that this has completely made our conditional formatting useless, because we apply the conditional formatting to the whole column by selecting the whole column. But what we are interested in is just the data we have entered. What we can do is to select the whole column again, to go to the conditional formatting and select clear rules, and then select clear rules from selected cells. Now we select the cells that we are interested. So we select this range, we go back to the conditional formatting, we go to the color scales, and we select the same thing but just for this range. So what we got here is the totals. So let's type here total, enter. Now let's make it to stand out. Select this and then click on bold. Other things that we are interested on is average, highest, and lowest. Another way to enter into a cell without moving your finger from the keyboard is by pressing F2, and then automatically will go inside the cell and then put the double column. So each one of these would have a different formula, but the range that we will be selecting would be the same. So we go to this formula that we already created, we go up here, we select the range that we want to apply to different formulas, then we press Ctrl and C to copy that, and then press escape to leave that cell intact, and then come to the other cells, and now press equal to get to the functions. Now type in average. As soon as you see it gets to what you want and that thing becomes blue, press tab, and now press Ctrl and V. Now this range is automatically entered here. Now press enter. That's the quickest way you could average out the given range. Reusing what you have already entered in Excel is one of the best techniques to learn from right in the beginning. Obviously I could have gone here and selected average as well, but that can bring the wrong values, because above this cell I have also got total, which might add to the average and make the average wrong. So let's continue the same pattern. Equal. For the highest, you need to use the formula called max. Max, tab, Ctrl V, enter. Equal. Mean. For the lowest, tab, Ctrl V, enter. So quickly and efficiently we got what we wanted. Now what we do is we click on this cell, we use the painter, and then we select this range, and we got all the same format as this top one. But if you look at it carefully, it has applied cell C8 format to the currency format, which is not what we wanted. If you have done any mistakes, you don't have to worry, because in Excel you can undo and redo pretty easily. You can just go here and click undo. If you're happy with what you have done before, you can click on here and redo and then undo, and you can do that multiple times to get what you want. So I can undo, and then I can click on this cell, and I can click on the format, and I can apply the same format just off this cell. Excel has got a lot of formulas, and these formulas are called functions. To access a list of these formulas, all you need to do is to enter equal sign, and in the top left corner it will show you a drop down for different functions. These are some of the most common functions that are available, but you can click on more functions and it can give you lots more functions in different categories: finance, statistical, engineering, information, and the list is huge. And depending on your professional field, you might use some a lot and you might not use some at all. So now imagine you have entered a massive amount of data and you want to get on with creating a lot of formulas. The best way to do that is to go to the Formula tab. In here you can find the whole function library with different formulas that you can apply. For example, if you click on math and data, it will give you some here. And then again, similar to what we have done previously, you can just select here. And then if you're not sure exactly what you want, just try to type in some description of what you want. So let's say you want to count the total number of items that you got, and it will find you the closest functions what it thinks might help you to achieve your objective. Read the description carefully of the function to really understand it's what you really want it to do. So Formulas tab and the Formulas ribbon, it's a great place to explore. Now let's get to some interesting tips and tricks to make working with Excel more fun and efficient. And one of them is called Autofill Handle. So first we click the cell that we are interested on, and in this corner you can see something as if we can drag. If you move your cursor over that square, our cursor sign changed from a white plus sign to a black plus sign. That means now we can drag this cell. Now we have activated Autofill Handle. All we need to do is to click on it and then drag it to any direction you want to. So let's drag it to the right side. By doing so, we have copied the value in the cell that we dragged. You can drag it as long as you want, and you can copy it many times. So let's copy another one. I can easily fill some cells in this manner, but if you select two of the cells and then activate Autofill Handle and then drag, it understands the pattern. Rather than just simply copying the cells, it copies the pattern. And if you watch it carefully, it goes from 5, 4, 3, 2. So if you want to clear this data, we can select an empty cell, drag the auto handle to here, and we clear this data in this direction. It also can copy formulas. So select all the formulas, go to this corner and drag it to the right. Now we got the total, the average, highest and lowest of all these extra values that we got in 1 second. Autofill Handle is particularly useful tool with dates and time. For example, if I type in January and now select January, go here, drag and drop, it automatically understands what comes next. It doesn't simply copy it. What about the days of week? Select, drag, it does understand what to do. Let's say 1st January, drag and drop, it understands what to do. Let's say 1 p.m. again, drag and drop, it knows what comes next. To clear this, select all the column. You can right click and you can click on clear contents. So let's select this and delete. Now imagine we have bought another album by Beatles, but we want to enter that new album underneath row 5 on row 6. The easiest way to do that is to select row 6 and then hold your control and press plus. It would automatically shift all the rows down by 1 row. And then what we can do is to select our already existing Beatle album, use the auto handle. So the artist is automatically filled now for us, and the album this time we bought is called Help, and it was released in 1965 and it cost us $4. So it automatically copied the currency. By filling the information in this way, the formula still works in the right way. Now I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to manipulate the data. Now imagine that I have got a very big collection of albums and I would like to, for example, find one of these collections that I've got. But for that I have to scroll down all the way down to understand what I want, but still it would be very complicated because my artists are not sorted, they are all mixed. So to make it easier to find an artist, what you can do is to sort. In order to do that, select the first artist, which is cell A3. We can go to Home tab and then go to the editing group. You'll find a place called Sort and Filter. You can find the same option in Data. If you go to Data tab and then go to the Sort and Filter, you find the same option and more options to work with the data that we got. Okay, pay attention to our Ed Sheeran record. Its album is Divide. Now if I click on this button, it would sort my data according to the ascending order, which makes Beatle come first and the Ed Sheeran goes to row 6. It also keeps the integrity of my table intact. Even though we have selected only one cell, it automatically changed the position of the album released and value to match the sorting of the artist. Next thing that I think everyone using Excel should know is filtering. To use it, first select the titles of our data and then go up here in the sort and filter group and click on filter. And notice now that they all have a drop down arrow. And imagine I got a big fan of Beatles who have come to my home and he wants to know what are the albums that I've got from Beatles. So after applying the filter, go and click on the drop down. You will see that you can just select a particular data. So if you click on select all, you would deselect all the artists, and now let's just select the one that we're interested. Let's say Beatles. And then if you click on OK, it will just show you the albums from Beatles. But if you look carefully, you will see that all of a sudden we have jumped from row 4 to row 13. This doesn't mean that row 5, 6 to row 12 are deleted. It just means that they are hidden behind so that we could focus more on the data that we are interested in. So to understand that we have applied the filter, you can see that the symbol is changed from a drop down to a funnel. So in order to get all the data back, you just click there again on the funnel and now click on select all and then click on OK. And now we got all the data back. Let's make this data so that it would become big, because I want to show you something that it would be very useful to handle big data. So let's press Ctrl and plus and hold the Ctrl to make this list big. And what we can do is select this, drag and bring it all the way to here. So artificially I have filled the data. Now if I scroll down, I would not know what does this mean. What does this mean? Titles disappear as I scroll down. So in order to make sure that the titles would be always on the top, there's a trick that you need to know, and that's by using freeze pan. In order to use that, you need to select just the cell below the rows that you want to always to be at the top. Then you go to the view tab, then you go to the window group, and here you see a place called freeze pans. Click on that and you can see various options for freeze pans. In this example we will select freeze pans, and now you can see a thicker line appeared below row 2. It displays where the border of the freeze pan starts. Now if I scroll down, I can still know that this is an artist, this is an album, and so forth.
Summary of the things we learned in this video are conditional formatting, formulas, autofill handle, sort, filter, and freeze pans. If this video was useful, please don't forget to watch my top 25 Excel tips and tricks and to subscribe. I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.